Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, good to see you.
You too? So, we're here today to talk about change. It's the topic that we're just exploring on so many different levels. And it occurred to us that the Center for Conscious Wealth is actually a center of change.
Yeah.
Change is the impetus that brings people to us. There might be some big change going on in their life, or there's a desire for change. If there hasn't been a change, or there's no desire for change, they're probably not a good fit for the center, perhaps for the investing side, but really not the center.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And
yeah.
yeah, well, to that, where can people get stuck in change, right? And why would somebody want to come if they desire change, if they're looking for change and these, like they want a different outcome in some measure, right? So rather than going on it on their own, why do they come to the center? And I think where I go first is we can get stuck in the thought of change because it's unknown how it'll go. The outcome can be unexpected. It's a gray zone. And sometimes we want help navigating that.
Yeah, or we've seen people go before us, right? So some people that come to the center have just sold a business. They've seen a friend or a colleague sell a business, and it wasn't as happy as they thought it would be, or it didn't unite the family, or they didn't have a plan on how they were going to transform that money or use the proceeds of that sale to make their family more united.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, consciously or not, that is a roadblock to moving forward.
What is
Stories we
fear?
hear, the stories we tell ourselves about the unknown, about change. Think how many, I think it's more, I don't know studies on this, but I would say most humans would rather stay in homeostasis than move towards change, even if they desire the change.
Yeah, but isn't there also the person who's constantly changing?
Yeah. I know somebody like
Hey, whoa.
that.
No, I think there's also people who are chasing change because it comes down to this idea of should, which we talk a lot about, is like, oh, I should be doing something else. I should be somebody else. And so then constantly chasing something else as opposed to just actually sitting in the reality of who they are. We see a lot of that in the center. I've seen that a lot where people will come in, particularly a matriarch or patriarch, and say, at first I thought I wanted my kid to be like this or this or this, and now I just want them to be happy, whatever that means, that they could live the fullest and most authentic version of themselves. And so then there's a shift within the parents, but then the child, adult or otherwise, doesn't see that. So they still think that there's a should being placed upon them, or they've placed those shoulds upon themselves. And that creates a lot of pain within and then with the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that at the center, the concept of coming together and creating conversation to give a safe place to name all of that is such a great catalyst to begin to move into a new dialogue and conversation around the change that allows both people to become in exactly who they are and to change that language between them.
Yeah. And I'll say it a million times. That's like real wealth. That's true wealth, like communication within family members and a sitting within your own sense of self within family members and full acceptance of them. That's worth more than any money.
I mean, so think of that. A change is going to come. Is it that they're selling the family business? Okay. So sure. It's this known dynamic in the family. This is the way the family's operated. And they're coming to the center. And here are the parents. They're facing a life change, a new transition. And here come the kids. They've been the children of the people that own this, business. And they're all coming together with their own narratives of the dynamic, their own story of everything that's going on there. And when change needs to occur, we need to expand the range that's available in the conversation. And in order to do that, people need to be willing to listen to one another, and allow maybe a shift in perspective to be true. You know, as you were saying, the parent saying, I wanted my kid to be this, and now I want them to be happy. Maybe that child's coming in thinking, I'm letting them down by not wanting to take on the business.
Mm-hmm.
To create that dialogue and that shift in conversation, there's a lot to kind of name or allow to be heard to create that range for that new truth to be allowed to be true between them. Does that make sense?
It does. And when you're talking about range, what you're allowing for is people to be able to live in new ways and think in different ways, as opposed to the range or the way they've always been thinking.
Absolutely.
And then what we do at the center, besides just talk about it, which is key, is then we memorialize it. We create documents, we create family governance documents, processes, policies within the family that are organic in nature, that they can shift. You know what's funny though is, I know you know this, but you said that the parents come in together, but it's never like the parents are always on the same page, because one of the parents has not had to see the other one for that much of time. And now their biggest concern is he or she is going to be around a lot more.
That's a whole different kind of change.
And I've got my house in a certain way, and I've got the energy in here a certain way.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do with this spouse around all the time?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see the spouse who comes back and tries to run the house like the business, because you know you're so used to being in this like paradigm. It's
right.
It's interesting. I love it.
I'm seeing my sister shift into retirement. Yeah, it's interesting to see her being willing to even say she's retired. You know, it's like the language in the change. It begins. It's the language. It's the way you see yourself, see your roles in relationships, and it's layered and unknown. And
yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to somebody last week, their first day of retirement after 30 years working for the same company, had a stellar career, made a lot of choices in life. He could have climbed up the ladder, and he said, no, I'm going to stay in this town and have a high level job, a regional job, but never go all the way up into the corporate space. And I talked to him his first day free. We had a 10 o'clock meeting, and he forgot. I was like so proud of him. I was like, wow, he didn't show up to the meeting. I was like, most people do not flip the switch as quickly as you did.
Yeah.
That's always the scariest thing though. I think it's the first week, the first month they wake up and they say, oh, I'm not getting a paycheck anymore. I don't have to go to work today. And that is a huge adjustment. Yeah, it's a huge adjustment, which people get through, but I think it's the bigger family dynamic adjustments that we work through, and it's exciting to see and empower people to work with.
Absolutely. Any changes coming up for you?
Man, yeah, I got a lot of changes coming up. I'm here in Guatemala. I decided to come here because Miami's hot, and I wanted to like be in the countryside. But I've got a lot of travel in October, visiting clients and doing speaking. And so it'll be moving, Phoenix to Columbus, to Cleveland, to LA, to Austin, to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's phew. So somehow throughout all of that, I'll have to find diet and exercise and find routine, something that isn't changing to ground me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
No, thankfully right now, I mean, things are always changing, right? But for now the summer is full of change, but you know, I'm a mom of 3, and I, you know, just kind of having my practice and being here, and they change a lot. But my day-to-day isn't changing as much right now.
How do we put a bow on this? You don't put a bow on change. Change
No.
doesn't, you don't get a
Change
positive
doesn't get a
change.
bow.
It doesn't get a bow.
No. Bows
Yeah,
are
but
really like kind of ick.
bows are ick?
I think bows are ick. Let's just
Oh
be
no,
real.
I'm the king of bows, and I am not the king of ick. All
According
right,
to
no
you.
bow for this video. Talk to you later.
Right. Okay.